Hello Internet, and welcome to the first official episode of My Quarter Life Crisis. Now, what is a quarter life crisis? Well, I had to consult Wikipedia for this one. According to Wikipedia, a quarter life crisis is a period of life after the major changes of adolescence, usually ranging from the late teens to early 30s, in which a person begins to feel doubtful about their own lives. This is no doubt brought on by the stresses of becoming an adult, which, don't let anybody convince you otherwise, sucks. Quarter life crisis occurs shortly after a person enters the real world. Well, what is the real world, you might ask? You know, it's a hard one to pin down. And I never really felt like I got a good explanation myself. When I was in high school and everyone would talk about the real world and how it's a scary place and we're all going to be in it someday. Well, you know what, I hate to break to you, but it is true. You are all going to get there someday. But I am here to assist you on that journey. Hang in there. I'd like to share with you some things that I've learned in my life, and hopefully you can learn from my mistakes and from my general awkwardness. So, how did I come about deciding to start an internet series? I mean, these things, they don't just happen. But, you know, it was a combination of several factors. The first one being, so several of my friends have approached me, and, you know, I generally don't think that I'm that funny, but I guess I amuse some people. On the inside, I'm like, oh God, I'm so awkward. Who would want to listen to me? But you know what? Internet is a strange place, full of strange people. There's got to be more than one person out there like me. Second reason is more recently, I, have been putting a lot of thought into, why I'm doing the things I'm doing. So a little background. I am 24 years old and I am in my second year of grad school. I know. That seems really old probably to some of you, but let me tell you, it's gonna come before you think. My decision to go to grad school was, kind of almost like a default decision, like, what could I do with my life? Join the real world? Or postpone it for another 5 years. 5 more years of being able to be a slightly irresponsible young adult and make dumb decisions is definitely a perk. And at the end of this, people, I guess, are going to call me a doctor. I know, strange. I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around it. But it's happening. So, yeah, and then today I just had the weirdest experience that, just really made me realize that I need to do something with my life for my enjoyment. So today I was running late for class, which was awful and annoying, and it's super, super stressful. How often do you find yourself being late for something and you're just like, oh my God, the world is gonna end, people are gonna hate me? So I'm at the train stop. I walk to the train every day, and then I take the train to my class here in the city in Chicago. And I got all the way to the train stop and realized that I had forgotten my wallet that had my train pass and my money. I don't have my train pass, so I can't get on the train, and I don't have money, so I can't take a cab. So I have to walk all the way back home to get my wallet. So the whole way back, I'm thinking, God, this is awful. What a terrible day. I just want to go back to bed. And I get my wallet, and I decide that I'm going to take a cab. So I flag down this cab, and immediately red flag raises. The cab's pulling up, and it's got a pumpkin on the front stuck in the grill of the cab. And it's made out of orange garland. And then I get inside the cab, and it is covered floor to ceiling with Halloween decorations. Rubber band hanging from the ceiling. There are like pumpkins plastered to the walls and doors, and on the ceiling there, all those cutouts like you would have in your elementary school classroom of like ghosts and witches and whatever. And then I look up, and the cab driver is wearing a cowboy hat. So at this point I'm thinking, this cab driver is completely mental. What have I done? I just phrase because, I mean, here, you know, I don't know how many of you live in a city, but in a city, people don't get excited. Cab drivers don't decorate things. You don't talk to your cab driver. You get in, you tell them where you're going, and you go about your business. I can't help but say something, of course, because I have no filter and just say what's always on my mind, and I just say, nice cab decorations. So I'm thinking this can go one of two ways. He's either going to be flattered or think that I'm mocking him. Thankfully, for my purposes, he was flattered. So the guy goes, yeah, well, you know, thanks. It's all about the color scheme. You know, you got to have the right color scheme to have the decoration work, right? Going around in his cabin, I suddenly realized there's also a disco ball hanging from the ceiling. A disco ball in a cab. And at this point is when I notice it and tells me that people call him the party cab. I, at this point, have no idea what I've gotten myself into. So I end up, you know, having a discussion with this guy about his decorations. And he tells me, you know, I've been doing this for years now. And he says, I can remember to this day when I started. He said it was 1985, and it was a cold day in December near Christmas. And I had been driving my cab around for hours, and I suddenly stopped. And I had this realization that I hated what I was doing. I hated driving this cab. I hated living in the city, and everything just seemed awful. And then I thought, you know, I have one of two options. I can continue on hating my life and being miserable, or I can do something about this. So I stopped at the CVS and I picked up some decorations and I decorated my cab. And he said it was amazing. Everyone's attitude towards him changed. Everyone was so excited to see the Christmas decorations. He said my attitude changed. I was having a good time, and he said that he went around driving then and didn't come back till 10:30 the next morning. Pretty much at this point in my life, I've been considering to be pretty miserable. I mean, I go to school and I study, and I come home and I don't really have much of a life outside of that. I know, big shocker, some things never change. You're going to be in your mid-20s and still be a huge nerd who sits on the internet. But I had this realization that, you know, it's up to me to make my life interesting and fun. So, you know what? I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos lately, as do most of you, I'm sure. And you know what? I thought, why not start making some myself? So here I am, and hopefully, somewhere on this weird journey, we can all learn something from each other. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and if you're also out there struggling through your 20s with me, I see you, I know you're there. Feel free to subscribe, and we can help each other out, because, heck, the world is a big scary place, so why not help each other through it?